In 1997, the newly elected leader had died. Growth hadn't occurred in years, and dissension was tearing apart the church.
Anita Carrion was a young Bible school graduate who'd started a church without any support. She was elected as the new leader because of her faith in God and hard work. Her presence and emphasis on reconciliation provided the first spark of hope.
Then in 1999, an evangelism team from Texas came to Peru to minister in the Amazon. A few months earlier, the government had sent a young man as school administrator to another village. He'd begun asking God's help to reach the village for Christ. Seemingly unplanned, the Texas team visited his village to share the gospel message. In 3 days, dozens accepted Christ, over 20 people were baptized, and a church was formed. As the news spread, hope revived. God hadn't forgotten Peru. As of April 2002, there are now 11 churches and over 400 new Christians.
Joel and Megan are a big part of our team in Peru. We'd been praying for each of them to experience a short-term missions trip without Mom and Dad being in charge. God provided the opportunity for Joel through a medical drama team from the Texas-Louisiana district.
When I asked him what he liked best about the trip, he said that it was because he grew spiritually more than any other time in his life. And he said he also wanted to lead missions trips just like Pastor Howard does.
Megan had an opportunity to go to a mountain village and help with a medical clinic. She'd set a personal goal not to miss a day of school that year, so she wasn't sure if she wanted to go on the trip.
She finally sat down and told me that when she got to heaven, it would mean more to Jesus for her to go and help than to stay behind for a perfect attendance record.
The church for many years had been dependent upon North America. In a country where more than half the population live at or below the poverty level, most would expect continued help. Some pastors even taught that they were too poor to tithe. They didn't need more money. They needed to be challenged to trust God. It started on the national board, where only about half the members were tithing. They were challenged to give or go. As they began to trust God, God began to provide. Before returning to Peru in 1998, God gave me a vision of being a Jonathan for the Davids he would raise up.
One such leader is Godofredo. He was a recent Bible school graduate assigned to pastor a 70-year-old church that had flatlined at about 30 people. Then the book, The Purpose-Driven Church, was placed into his hands. Through prayer, they felt God's leading them to believe for 1,000 new believers, 25% of their whole village by the year 2005. Their theme is the family of Pueblo Nuevo for Jesus.
Jonathan recognized God's will for David's life, and he poured his energies into helping David reach his potential. He interceded, offered words of encouragement, called David to a renewed commitment, and ultimately took a step backward in order to allow David's ministry to emerge. That has been our role in Peru these past 4 years.
The Lord provided a discipleship opportunity for me with Marlene and Noemi. They were both elected to leadership positions and were basically scared to death. Throughout the year, the Lord used opportunities for them to experience exactly what we were studying. Some were very difficult. At the end of the year, I asked them if they'd have preferred not to have become leaders. Both emphatically said no. I taught them that in order to be a leader, you have to become a mentor.
Like he did in David's time, God gave hope to the distressed, a challenge to the ones in debt, and a purpose to the discontented.
God also used a mentor friend to help David maintain his focus on vision. Do you have a David in your life? Be a Jonathan in someone's life.